All right, welcome to the Clubhouse podcast, episode 4, I believe at this point. Yeah, we've got, it's me, Zach Priest. I'm with my partner, Lukas Anderson. Our guest today is going to be Chase Bessard from the Portland Mavericks. Chase, how you feel?
Better than I deserve, man. Pleasure to be on the show.
Yeah. Lukas, you feeling all right?
I feel great. We had a great weekend of games. You know, we got a lot of sun. We got some golf in this week, so I'm ramped up for this episode of the podcast.
Yeah. If you missed this last weekend of Mavericks League action, I'm sorry, first off, because it was a couple of great series. The first series, it was between the Campesinos and the Volcanoes, arguably the series of the year. In game 1, we had a lot of late inning action. Josh Rigo, well, first off, Hugo Garcia hit a game-tying 2-run shot in the top of the 8th, and then Josh Rigo hit a go-ahead 2-run shot in the bottom of the 8th, and that ended up being the difference.
Yep.
Very good game. Game 2 was a walk-off. Monte Woods hit a little broken bat, fielder's choice with the bases loaded, scored a run, and they walked it off against the Volcanoes. Campesinos won game 2. So at that point, they had already won the series. They were looking for the sweep going into game 3. And game 3 was a wild one. So we went into extra innings. There was bases loaded in the bottom of the 10th, I believe. Danny Alvarado walked with the bases loaded to score the tying run, which brought up Monte Woods off of Jake Lialios.
Yeah, which that at-bat by Alvarado was crazy.
That was a big league at-bat.
Took some really close pitches, like sliders on the outer half. It was crazy, and such good poise by the 18-year-old Alvarado.
Yeah, such a young hitter, and he showed a lot of poise up there. Like you were saying, took a lot of borderline pitches, worked a really good count, ended up walking and scoring the tying run. That brought up Monte Woods, and he had a chance for the second time in that series to walk off. In a row. To walk off against the Volcanoes. He ends up taking a fastball on the upper inner half down the right field line, 100+ off the bat, scores the game-winning run, and that was just it really put the exclamation mark on the series for the Campesinos, who at this point had tied first, winning that game, and then ended up now they're a game out behind the Mavericks. So it was just a really good series, back and forth the whole time. Each game was really, really close. Yep. Campesinos ended up coming on top every time, but
it was kind of a statement series. I felt like they've won 4 in a row now. They're 9-1 in their last 10. I think that kind of showed the Campesinos. I mean, they know that they're capable of this, but I think that they, kind of put the rest of the league on notice with that one, because now the Volcanoes have dropped 2 in a row, and they're kind of in the other side of the spectrum now, where they're trying to get it together, because we're in the last stretch here of the season. And so I think it shows a little bit of 2 teams going 2 separate directions, but I mean, there's a lot more baseball left to be played.
100%. And then Chase's team, the Portland Mavericks, they won the first was it the first 2 games of the series? Then so you guys took the first 2 games and then lost game 3 on Sunday. But at that point, you had already won the series. You kept the Campesinos kind of behind you guys in the standings by a game. Was there any keys that you maybe thought contributed, or what did you guys do well that helped you get those first 2 games? And game 3 was close. Just ended up dropping it by a couple runs. But what kind of stood out to you this weekend with that series win over the Senators?
I would say our bats were definitely alive the whole series. I'd also say pitching. Pitching also played a really key role in keeping us in the games, even when our bats were cold. Because, normally, if a pitcher holds, any team, 4 or 5 runs, at this level, we should be able to put up 4 or 5 as well. So, I feel like our pitching was really on top of it, and I feel like our bats were on. We were getting timely hits, and I feel like that was just the deciding factor. Yeah,
there was a hit you had to right field in Game 3 that, we don't know what happened. It might have gone off the wall. It might have been caught. What was that like going through your head? I know they reviewed the play. What was going on? I know you were a little animated out there, obviously. How was that whole situation?
I was pretty animated. But I just felt like, when you're hot, I was just seeing the ball so well. Those little hits, matter. Yeah. The little things. But it was still good wood. And it was really more so the fact that would have made it a 1-run game. And that was with the runner on, that kind of killed killed our little momentum. But it was fun like talking it up with Jeff and stuff out there. But we definitely looked back at that video, zoomed in and stuff, did slow mo just to make sure. But yeah, it was a difficult play, I imagine, to call from the infield.
Yeah, no, it was smoked into the right center gap, and I talked to your manager Scott Bender after the game, and that really was in a way a momentum killer for you guys, and it definitely could have swayed the rest of that game, and it was a big call, did not go your way, but. Overall, that was honestly a really good game on Sunday, and it was very quick.
Yeah.
It was really,
I love that.
What game was it? Saturday when they left Disla in for 3 innings?
Oh,
what did you guys? What were you guys thinking about that? Because do you guys take that as kind of a slight or?
I would say not really more so as a slight as to us just realizing that like the pitching depth wasn't there, so we just be aggressive.
Yeah.
Because they really didn't have anybody after him, so it was more so a matter of like seeing if we could scratch as many runs as we can off of. And it ended up working, so I feel like it was good to take advantage of that, and he was fastball heavy too as well, so I feel like that definitely helped us out.
Yeah, because when you guys know what's coming, and you can kind of start to sit on it a little bit. And I'm going to be honest, I was very surprised in the press box when they had the all-star reliever Jeff Freon sitting in the bullpen ready to go, and they left in Disla for a little bit, and that was an interesting call. That might have cost them the series. So
yeah, that was an interesting move. We saw it looked like Jeff Freon down the line was ready to go.
Yep.
And I don't know, they said that they were saving him for Sunday, but then they ended up only pitching him 1 inning.
Yep.
So it was like, well, if you're going to have the guy throw 1 inning the whole weekend, why was it not in the tight game on Saturday? Yeah, it was just a really interesting move. Either way, it benefited you guys. You ended up getting that win on Saturday and snagging the win on Sunday. So let's move in now. I know we got a lot of questions ready to go for you, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we got. Where were you playing before the Mavericks League, and how did you end up getting to this point? Did you know anybody? Did you have a connection, or what was going on?
To be honest, I had just finished my year at Lansing Community College. We had like a heartbreaking loss. We were 49-3, I think. We were in the number 1 JUCO in the nation for pretty much the whole year. And it was the last game to go to the World Series, and we gave up 4 home runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. And then we lost. So it was heartbreaking. I didn't really have any plans after that, though. So
what city is that in?
It's actually Lansing, Michigan, right on Michigan State campus.
Nice.
So after that, I was actually done with baseball. I had quit. I moved down to Dallas with my uncle, and I was just working. I was doing landscaping and stuff. And then Champ Davison, a guy on our team, actually, I played with him in college, and he was the one who just hit me up. He was like, yo, I'm finna play in this pro league. If you want to play, you might as well. You're too good to give it up too young. And I was like, yeah, facts, might as well. So, it looks like it worked out for the best. I'm having a good time here, met some nice folks. So definitely a great experience down here.
Yeah.
So how long have you been playing baseball? What was your kind of baseball story like growing up?
I started playing when I was 3. I've always just been playing. My pops was big in the men's softball, so I was around the game growing up. I'd say I was a late bloomer. I was smaller, and I would say less skilled than a lot of people were at up until about 14, 15. And around that's the time where my athleticism, I hit my growth spurt, and I started, getting the feel for my body and stuff. I had 0 home runs going into my junior year, and then ended up with 24 after 2 years. Literally, I just ended up hitting home runs last second.
Just all over the place.
No, yeah.
24? Was that in high school?
Yeah. It was between my junior and senior year, yeah.
That's nuts. So were you all league, I'm guessing? Were you league MVP caliber?
Oh yeah. So I had actually gotten hurt at my actual senior year of my high school. So I had post-graded, and I went to an academy called Next Level down there in Alabama. Shout out Next Level. They actually had a draft pick this year. So we were going crazy. That was actually when I actually started taking baseball really seriously. When it was post-grad, this is what I'm doing it for. But that was definitely, I'd say, when everything started taking off. I started getting my offers and stuff, and everything started taking off from there. So I definitely say down south, though. I've played down south now. I've played in the West and I've played in the North. I say baseball is pitching dominant in the North, hitting dominant in the South, and I'd say probably pitching dominant out West.
That's a really good take. I feel like.
I've never heard that, but that's really cool that you broke it down like that because I'm sure it is different geographically and all that.
Sure. So mentioning all the homers you hit in those last 2 years of high school, what is the farthest ball you've hit? Was it in the Mavericks League or was it in one of those dingers you hit in high school? Do you remember anything that stands out?
I was actually in Pirate City in Bradenton, Florida, and we were playing. It was for the Florida Gulf Coast League, and it's like 405 with like a 20. I think it's like 15-foot batter's eye. I hit it 447 and cleared the batter's eye dead center at Pirate City. That was my favorite home run. I think I took myself out of that game too as well. It was like 110 degrees on the turf. It was terrible, and like we were up so much. Yeah, we were up so much. I was just like, after that, I was like, I'm gonna end it on that. But that was for sure probably the farthest. And I didn't even mean like it wasn't even necessarily like a G hack. Like I wasn't trying to hit it that far, but I'd say that was probably my farthest home run for sure.
So I mean, my favorite home run that I've seen you hit is the pinch hit grand slam. Ooh. It was the bottom of the 7th. What was that like going up to the plate? What were you thinking after you hit it? What was the thought process there?
Yeah.
So generally for me, I'm pretty hyped up in the dugout. I drink at least one energy drink before the game. So I'm always like jumping around, making sure everybody's engaged. Because I mean, you never know when it's gonna be your time. So that was actually a surprise pinch hit appearance too, because that game was like up and down back. Yep. So I mean, I figured really I figured it would be an AB where maybe we were either down by a lot or up by a lot to where I can just see something.
Yeah.
But for me to have to lock it in like that, I felt like that was actually probably a better experience than maybe starting. Like I'd say, like just as in
interesting.
Yeah, like I had to come off, and it's just I kind of like clutch situations because I feel like I can be me and relax, and that's where like I'm more comfortable. I feel like if I'm not on edge, then I feel like I step down to my competition, like play down to my competition in a way. So I like to always be up, and even if it's a at bat, if it's just a throwaway AB, it's like, well, what can I compete with this pitcher? I mean, he's still up there, I'm still up there. Like the game has to go on. So I feel like that pinch hit home run was for sure probably one of my favorite. That was probably my favorite home run, honestly. Like of my career, yeah, like just because it was just so fun. Like the energy in the dugout was there, like. It was for sure,
That definitely put a charge into us in the press box. Yeah, I mean, it was a close game at that point, but it was very back and forth and very tight, and it wasn't the quickest moving game, but we really like those where it's it's knotted up and back and forth and close, and then all of a sudden it just got broken open with that, and I think there was 2 outs. I think that was a 2-out pinch hit. Yeah,
bottom 7.
Yeah, grand slam late in the game. It was nuts. So you've seen, kind of building off of that, you've started and you've come off the bench this season in many different situations. As a pinch hitter in some occasions, how do you stay loose in the dugout? What's that kind of like protocol like? If you know you're not starting that day, do you do anything differently throughout the game? What's that whole situation like?
I feel like if I'm not starting, I try to stay locked in, chopping it up with everybody in the outfield, running, between innings, try to run to the 325 sign, run back. And it's kind of tough, but I like going up to everybody who's hitting, especially the lefties, like, hey, what did you see first pitch? What's the velo look like? All right, so you got 2 strikes on you. What was that first 2-strike pitch? What was this like throwaway pitch? Like, so it's nice to just go ahead and, just get a feel. Cause I mean that I might very well face that guy. And it's nice to know, all right, like he's been throwing change-ups away first pitch. So I can sit there, like he's not going to beat me with a fastball. So I mean, there's just so many things that you can think about just being on the bench to actively in your mind keep you engaged in the game. So I feel like it's definitely trying to keep yourself engaged mentally. That's the struggle from starting to like just watching like your team, like whether they're playing, like whether it's like a good or a bad game mentally or physically, errors, like because I mean our manager Scott Bender, he always says, I mean, like the mental errors, we can't really do those, but I mean physical, a ball takes a bad hop, hits you in the chest, you keep it in front, okay, that's part of the game. So, but I mean, definitely, it's tough to like lock in mentally when you're pitch hitting.
So Scott Bender is your guys' manager. What's it like playing for him? What type of coach is he? How's that all play out in the Mavericks clubhouse?
Oh, our clubhouse. I think environment. I think is the best out of everybody in the league. You know, we're chill. You know, we have a lot of Venezuelan guys. You know, the locker room energy, the music, everything's just different. We all understand each other too. It's crazy, but I feel like we have a culture where it's relaxed, but it's awareness at the same time, like knowing that not everybody has this opportunity to, you know, continue to play baseball how we do, and to come out and be able to do it, even if it is, you know, 3 days, 4 days a week, just, you know, that opportunity to come out on a nice, you know, at like former minor league field, you know, it's just not everybody gets to do that. So it's definitely take advantage of, you know, every time you're on the field, just have fun and just cut down on mental mistakes. So I really feel like, you know, Scott's kept us, you know, locked in a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like that's shown too. I mean, you guys still sit in first place by a game, and it just seems even when you're down, you're not quite out. We saw that this last weekend where it was, I think you guys were down 6 or 7 runs, and then all of a sudden off a distal like we were talking about, all of a sudden everything was just flying, and you guys clawed your way back and took a win. And from what I've seen from afar, because we're around all 4 teams, just seems like it's a top-down thing. Like, Scott seems like he set a culture, and it's just followed pretty well throughout you guys, and it's fun to watch. I guess that can lead into, you know, how's the team chemistry? I guess you mentioned a little bit of it, but pretty solid. I mean, you guys all – does anybody – are there groups that hang out outside of the field, or, like, how does that work? You guys have, like, team dinners or anything, you know?
Yeah, we have fun. We go out, you know, have like team dinners and stuff like that. You know, the host family we're staying at has a nice little property with the lake and stuff. You know, we go out, grill out stuff, have a good time. But I really feel like it's our in the game moments, how we can check each other in a way, but not necessarily, you know, it doesn't have to be a disrespectful way, but you know, if somebody's like giving bad energy, or, you know, if like, I feel like we're comfortable enough with each other to, we can be like, hey, you know, you're good, man. Like, let's go. Let's get up. Like, because I feel like you can get down when the score gets down. Like, the further down you get in the score, the further down you can get mentally. But, I mean, the way I see it, if they put up 8 runs against us, I say we're like – honestly, I say we're one of the best teams in the league. So, if they put up 8 runs against us, we can put up 10 runs against them. Yeah. So, it's just the energy. It's just the never say die attitude that we have. I love it, how we do the OPA and stuff like that in the locker room after every time somebody scores. And it's just – I mean, it's just a fun environment. Everybody's just up. So I really feel like that definitely has something to do with just the everyday coming here and the grind. And that definitely helps when you have people who, you know, you want to be around for sure. Yeah.
Who are the vocal leaders on your guys' team? You know, you're down somebody who leads, you know, by vocal aspects of it and tries to pick everybody up, or how does that all go?
I'd say we do have a go-getter energy-wise. I'd say that's Billy. For sure, Billy, Mr. Baseball.
Billy,
you know, always
Kid.
Yelling, Billy the Kid, always yelling. You know, I love the energy. Even on days where you come to the ballpark and we have to be here at 8 a.m. for early game, and we're just like, Billy's just loud, hey, baseball, and like, you know, you're just, when you don't want to be there, you want to be there. Yeah. I mean, Billy kind of just, you know, engages you, and so I'd say probably either him or it really honestly just depends on. Really, I mean, the situation, like say somebody scores and, you know, like we get in, you know, we're always high-fiving, but if that doesn't go down, then that person who got the hit will come and just be like, hey, let's go, like, let's pick it up. Yeah. So it's not necessarily, I'd say, a sole person, but I'd say generally as a squad, we have a good feel for everybody.
I think that almost is the best way to do it. It seems like everybody can kind of get involved at any given moment. Anyone can kind of step up and be that leader, and that's definitely a very good culture to build, I feel like, inside of a clubhouse for sure. With that being said, who do you think is the funniest person? Who's cracking you up every time you show up to the ballpark from your team?
I want to say a player. Like, I'd say Jaden, probably, if I had to name it. But honestly, I'd say the funniest guy is Rob, for sure.
Really?
Rob is he's so old school and like old, like he has an old soul. So everything is just funny. No matter what he says, and no matter what we say, he'll ask us like, hey, what does this mean? And that's just funny to me. It's like, yo, like. But I mean, no, he's definitely. I mean, he brings the energy as well too, for sure. Especially with the Venezuelan guys, they love like messing with him and stuff. Like, it's just a really funny. But I'd say Rob is probably the funniest guy on the team for sure.
I love that answer.
So, like a lot of guys that we've talked to, kind of model their swings after a guy or study MLB guys. Are there any MLB guys that you study or try to model your game after?
Well, I'm a fan. Like on Twitter, I follow Craig Hyatt and Pitching Ninja. I just like seeing, I'm really more so a fan of approaches, I'd say, more than swings. Because, everybody has their own, like, individual swing.
Right.
I guess just, like, me growing up, I guess I would say probably Griffey. Like, growing up, everybody wants that smooth lefty swing.
Yeah.
But I'd say, honestly, as I matured, I'd say it grew towards Anthony Rizzo approach mixed with Freddie. And I know they're kind of completely opposite. Like, Rizzo's the guy who's choking up, and if you throw me inside, I'm just going to yank it down the first baseline. But Freddie's the guy, okay, well, I can hit anything backside because I see it so deep. But I feel like those hitting philosophies together combine for the complete hitter. So I feel like those guys' approaches and the way they go about their BP, and I definitely feel like those guys are the guys I emulate for sure.
Yeah. So I guess that leads in. Do you have I honestly hate asking this question, but I also feel like it's really important. Is there like a general approach that you go up to the plate with in any given at bat? I mean, it could be third inning 0-0. What's your like base? Not depending on the situation. What's your base approach? I guess.
Okay. So my base approach, I would say, I'm sitting soft middle in.
Okay.
Because reactionary wise, I mean, if a pitcher's throwing me a fastball first pitch, I mean, I'm just hoping I'm turning on it. And so that's just kind of a thing where it's just reaction. But definitely I want to see something soft middle away and be able to pick it up and drive it backside. If I can do that, then any pitch you throw me, I feel like I'm on time for, pretty much.
So we've seen you play first. What positions do you all feel comfortable playing? Do you play a little outfield, third base? What do you like to play?
So honestly, I do actually play third base. I've actually played third base my whole life up until this season. Actually, this is my first time playing first. Well, I played in like high school, but as far as like college and pro, it's always been third base. But I struggled with some arm injuries and stuff, and it kind of stopped me from being able to play there 100%. So it's always good to find somewhere where I can just stick. So first base seemed to be the place. I kind of like right field too. Yeah, I enjoy letting it loose a little bit out there, but I'd say first base is probably one of the more mental positions, and you wouldn't even think it's really like that, but you really want to know what's going on, what everybody is doing, so that you can adjust accordingly. Yeah. So I mean, I feel like it's really getting used to the position. I'd feel like first base is where I'm most comfortable, but right now I'd say I can play anywhere. Yeah. I mean, put me anywhere and I'll make a play for you.
For sure.
Like whether I have to roll it to first. I mean, at the end of the day, a play's gonna be made.
I like that mentality. It's just it's just a grinder mentality. Wherever you need me to play, I'm gonna play.
Team first guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess, now that you're here, you're in Kaiser, Oregon. I mean, I don't know if you, playing in Michigan, thought you'd end up over here playing pro ball. What's your, what's your goals and what's your next step, after this? Or are you staying here and riding it out,
Well, I actually do have plans to stay here. I really want to get into, like, personal training, like baseball specific skills training and stuff like that, so with little kids and stuff. So I feel like that'll be a pretty good option for me at the end of the season. But I'm really looking forward to like maybe some overseas opportunities, maybe somewhere to come up. But because see, the thing is, COVID kind of wiped out a decent chunk of a year where I was at that point, like during the COVID year, I was talking to like the Astros pretty heavy. That was a spot where I really wanted to end up there. Like that was because they had 2 minor league teams in North Carolina. So I was that's a dope spot. But then COVID hit, and then I tore my ACL the year after that. And then I really honestly, I have 3 years of college baseball, and I only have one season, like actual one season of stats. So it's kind of just like that kind of didn't help me, but still staying in contact with those guys. I mean, obviously, like affiliate is like the goal. Yeah. I mean, I'm still like pretty young. I'm getting there. I'm getting up there. Like 23. Like it's starting to get that age where it's kind of you got to make it or So
it's crazy how I mean, just looking at prospects and draft picks and that age, that it's that gap where you really it's make or break, like you're saying. Yeah, it's how'd you end up tearing your ACL?
So the first time I tore it, I was playing basketball, and I went up for a layup and got kicked because somebody trying to block it, and it was just like an athletic play. I mean, he just kicked me in the knee, and then it just happened. And then I'd say the second time happened in football. Got cut from behind in high school, and then the injury that actually was bad, the meniscus in college, was when I was going for a foul ball in the bullpen actually. So I took a step on the mound, and I was expecting that step off to be there, but it wasn't. So I kind of jammed up, and then. So I mean, it was kind of just unfortunate things that happened, but I mean, it all happens for a reason. I feel like I wouldn't be here if that didn't happen. So I mean, you take the bad with the good, and you just try to learn from it and make the most of it.
Yeah. So you mentioned you played basketball. Who's your basketball comparison? What pro player do you compare your game to? Because everybody's got some pro player that they think they play like.
I'd say I'm more close to Luka, as in I'm kind of a ball handler, but I'm slower with it. I like to keep the pace slow,
right?
But I'm thinking 2 steps ahead. So it's I can shoot a little bit. I mean, I was a 6 man. I wasn't really too too good, but I was really came in, took about five threes, made 2 or 3 of them, and out the game. It was just
got the ice in your veins.
Yeah,
you got the clutch genes. Yeah.
Just momentum. If we needed something, I would just go out there. But
that's perfect.
Yeah.
This is our favorite question to ask on the podcast. If you had a time machine, you could travel back in time to see any historic MLB moment in person, what would it be? And it's difficult, and it's very hard.
There's so many.
Because there is a lot.
And we've gotten some interesting answers.
Yes. There's been everything all over the board. I mean, it was,
different
pitching
time
performances.
frames.
Yeah. Home runs, walk-offs, a certain game. It could be a run of something. Yeah.
Oh, if it can be a run.
Yeah.
As a lefty hitter, I feel like everybody is just due to watch Tony Gwynn. And I feel like if I really would have been able to watch him as... from 7 to if he could have had a role in my development, I feel like I definitely love to watch Tony Gwynn.
Right.
That swing, just Mr. Padre, everything was just
so smooth. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
That's a good answer, dude. That's so smooth. I love watching Tony Gwynn.
That's somebody everybody should model their game after. Every lefty should try to hit like Mr. Padre. What would you say is your best single game performance at any level?
Ooh.
Little league, high school, college, Mavs League. One game where you're like, man, that was the Chase Bessard game.
I'd probably say college. I went 5 for 5 with 4 home runs.
What?
It made no sense. After the second one, everybody was like, "Oh yeah," because I've had multi home run games before. So hitting 2, they were like, "Okay, that's lit." But then the third one, and then they're like, "Okay, that's ridiculous."
Yeah.
But then the fourth one came, and then they were like, "All right, bro, so we just can't pitch to this guy." And then. Honestly, it was a pitch out. My 5th hit was a pitch out, but I couldn't stand walking, so I kind of just threw my bat out and hit a double down the left field line.
Oh my!
So I was 5 for 5 with 4 home runs and a double down the line.
On an intentional walk.
No, literally.
Yeah,
it was they were trying to. Yeah.
That's the best answer we've gotten so far.
100%. Yeah, there's been some good single game performances, but I think that actually might take the cake. Yeah. Well, the Campesinos, I guess, looking forward for the rest of the season. Well, let's look in the immediate future. You guys play the Volcanoes this weekend. You got a 3-game series coming up. Volcanoes have just kind of, I don't know, they've had a bad couple of weeks and kind of slipped from tied for first with you guys down into third now. But it's a very tight race, even from 1 through 4 with the Senators down there at the bottom. Everyone's very close. How do you kind of see this series playing out? How important is this series to you guys as a team? I guess it's kind of a loaded question, but... how important is this series, and what do you see are some key things that can really help you guys get that series win?
That's a great question. I'd say our pitching finally hitting the groove. I feel like our pitchers are getting later and later in the games. Velo is getting higher and higher as the season's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I for sure feel like when our pitchers are dialed in. There's nobody who can beat us, I feel like. As long as we put up, I'd say, 3 to 4 runs. I mean, defensively, I'd say we're a pretty solid team. Honestly, I'd say the thing that would separate us this series would be, just pitching, arms, attacking hitters, limiting walks. But I feel like our bats are for sure, starting to pick up. I feel like everything's hitting at the same time. So.
Yeah. You guys seem like you're firing on all cylinders coming into this one, which is a really good contrast because I feel like the Volcanoes are in shambles in a way.
They've lost 2 series in a row.
Yeah.
Things are looking not great.
Yeah.
So I think you guys have a great opportunity here to, make a statement and stay on top of the league.
Yeah, and even though it's like early, I guess August now, it's early August, this could be a series that really separates you two as a team. Because I feel like, honestly, as on paper, if you looked at both teams, even all 4 teams, Volcanoes, with the amount of like affiliated guys they've had, and they've got Tony Torquato, former big leaguer, as their manager.
All the All-Stars.
Yeah, they had 8 All-Star selections. It just feels like on paper that they should be really running away with this league. And all of a sudden it's kind of turned around, and you guys have just played small ball and stayed within your means and really rode the fundamentals all the way into first place. Now the Volcanoes are 2 games out. If you guys sweep them, they're 5 games out all of a sudden. And it could really just put it out of reach here in August. And with 3, 4, 5 weeks left, it could really change everything. So what is the personal goals for you for the rest of the season? What's the goals for the team, I guess?
I'd say, personal goals, probably just to stay consistent. Cut down on strikeouts. That's probably, to me, that's one of the worst things you could do is just strike out. Putting the ball in play, there's so many options there. So many things can happen. A booted ball, it hitting the wrong divot. There's so many things that can happen when the ball's in play. I mean, you can't really do much when, 3 strikes go by you and you're walking back. So I feel like, it's just staying consistent, staying, like with my approach, not trying to do too much. Even recently, I found myself, trying to do too much recently. But, I feel like it's just, keeping it simple. And I feel like for us as a team, for sure, our goal is to, win the whole thing. I feel like we have the team. We have – I feel like, down the whole roster, consistency is probably our best friend. It's not necessarily just these group of players that are, doing this for the team. It's, a combination of everybody in the lineup, like whether it be a bunt, then a hit, then, even if it's moving a runner, 7-pitch AB, even if it's a strikeout, 7-pitch AB, all right, now I can talk to you. Hey, what did you see after, your 5th pitch? What was he coming with? Was he bailing? Was he just straight breaking ball? Was it fastball? So, I feel like consistency just around the board, personally and as a team, for sure would get us that championship.
It's solid. And that's interesting that you say that because I feel like you guys have some of the most fundamental at-bats and just, like, game situational hitting.
Yes.
And that's things like across the league we've seen that, sometimes isn't the best across all the other 3 teams, the situational hitting and understanding what's going on, okay, got to move the runners over, whatever, sack fly situation, bunt. Yeah, it's just things that, maybe other teams don't do right all the time. It seems like you guys every time just seem to do the right thing fundamentally. And, it's fun to watch. I love watching the Mavericks play baseball.
Yeah. Got the cool uniforms on.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Mavericks uniforms? Because, like, those are some thick uniforms.
Oh.
Especially in the heat.
It's blazing. The crazy part is they're so big. Like they just feel so big.
Yeah.
And it honestly, I love them, though, because, it's just so, like, you just get that vibe. Like, I watch the Batter Bastards of Baseball, and, like actually seeing the uniforms, you see all the cigarette holes in your pants, and you're just like, yo, like, I know for a fact somebody, like, put their cigarette out in these pants. Like, so it's just, like, it's so, like, old school.
History.
Yeah, like, in the dugout. Yeah, like, it's just so, like, old school. I love that. But, I feel like we uniquely have, like, the best jerseys in the league.
Yeah.
I think so, too. Yeah. Red's my favorite color, so I'm a little biased, but I love
it's a good color, red.
Yeah.
Senators got some sweet uniforms, too.
Yeah.
Their jerseys with the details.
Yeah, I do like
I
Senators.
Do like that,
Yeah. But I'd say those are the top 2. Camps uniforms need to be probably redesigned at some point. Not my favorite.
Maybe get some belt loops in there. Throw belts on there for you guys. Lukas, you got anything else to round this out?
I think we kind of covered it.
Yeah. You got anything for us, Chase?
It's been a pleasure, man. It's been a pleasure. I enjoy listening to you guys on the broadcast.
Yeah, we appreciate
it.
The
energy's crazy. I love it.
That's awesome. Thank you. We appreciate it, man. I guess that concludes episode 4 of the Clubhouse podcast. Next week, we don't know who's going to be on next week quite yet.
We're freestyling.
We're just freestyling. I think it might be somebody on the Volcanoes. We'll see. We might be making our rounds.
Couple players reach out.
Yeah.
Can't name names, but
sources. Yeah.
Our people are reaching out to their people.
Yeah,
we'll say
exactly,
that. That's as far as I can go with that.
But as always, guys, we appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you on episode 5 of the Clubhouse podcast.